Hello everyone, and this is my new shrimp tank rack. Well, it's just a rack. There's no shrimp tanks yet, but that's coming soon. But yesterday I spent all day working on this thing, and all you see right now is this air pump. But there's also an automatic water change system. Now it doesn't take the water out, but it does fill it up and keep the tanks topped off for evaporation, and you can use it for water changes. So like over the years, I've built all these racks. I've gone from not hardly even being able to cut a board to building complete racks. And now, instead of just having a rack and tossing a bunch of tanks on there and we're trying to make a system. So we have an air system and a water system. Trying, to make things a little easier on me. Now, these will be for Carolina shrimp. So, there is a little bit of extra care and stuff taken for that. But you definitely could do something. Definitely with the air. Definitely need the air. You can do that with any type of aquarium rack, Neos, easy shrimp, fish, anything you can dream of with aquariums. The air system applies to. And top offs. Now, if you're not doing a bunch of water changes, like I really don't plan to do a bunch of water changes in my Carolina shrimp tank. How I run those completely different than I run my Neos. So it's mainly just going to be going to be automatic top offs with float valves. So as the water evaporates a little bit, that lets a little bit more water in. So let me show you what we got here. So I'll start here with the air pump. Now, I love these AP Pond Master pumps. They're good and powerful. I've got a 40 watt one and a 100 watt one going. The 100 watt one is what's going outside. So I figured a 20 watt one would be enough for this. So we have this air pump, a clamp, and some vinyl hose. And then this is where all the fun starts. Another clamp going on to the PVC pipe. And then we have the air manifold. So I bought a pack of 20 air valves and I just used them all. I think I'm going to need 16 or 17 air drops for this rack. And then, so that's the air. Now this is just a PVC pipe, cut to length, holes drilled and tapped. And then these little metal valves, they're made to screw in. You can unscrew them, but I'm not going to do that. Most people who've done aquarium en masse know about this. This is no secret. This is just an air manifold I made myself. And then we have, you see these things here. These are the water lines. And so down here is the water reservoir. Now, I'm not sure I've seen other people do it like this, but I didn't know what I was doing on my first one. I have an automatic top off on my other tank, and this is the exact same way I've done auto top offs before. I have a pump, and then a PVC pipe coming up, an elbow, and this is one of these refrigerator lines, the RODI lines. This is one of those little fittings. I drilled a hole here. And this is threaded and it's screwed in. You drill the hole the exact same size as that fitting. Then that will screw in there. It kind of self-taps itself in there. I used a little bit of this sealant stuff that I always use. It's the polyurethane sealant. Always use it in my tanks. And then I'd like to have another elbow, but when I was building this, I didn't have another elbow. And so, but I did have a T and a cap. So I may do that. And then what that does is pumps up through here, and the pressure on the line, there's a valve here. If you want more pressure, you just close the valve. If you want less pressure, open it all up. Now with just the one tank on this setup I have like this, and the first time I did it, I have the valve all the way open, and there's enough pressure to push the water up through the line to the one tank. But with a racket like this, I'm not sure. So then the water line, I have this lid off. So see, this will close down. And then there's a valve here that we can shut on and off because those float valves will fail. So you want to be able to shut that off. Only top off a couple times a week or so. So then that will come up out of here and comes into this fitting here, which splits it. And then one comes down to this level. And on this level, I plan to have 4 10-gallon tanks. Probably like tank here, tank here, tank here. Then there'll be another tank coming to here. And then the other split comes all the way up to here and around here. I wish I'd done that a little better, but it works. And this is the valve that controls the back pressure. So this is your bleed valve on your airline. So then you can control how much air. So like if you're making way too much air, you want a lot of air to be bleeding out of this. But I think by the time I have all these tanks running, that valve is going to end up most of the way closed. And then we'll have 3 20 gallons up here on the top for a fill line, a fill line, and a fill line. And each tank will have a float valve. And then we have a float valve just like right here. And what that does, it's just like a toilet. When you flush the toilet, all the water comes down, and as it fills up, it floats. So if I push this down, that'll let water out, and it keeps the tank exactly at this level. And that is pumping in, dripping in, letting in whenever needed, RODI water to replace evaporation. And this is the tank for that. And here are all the float valves that we got right here. So, after working all day yesterday, I've got to the point now where we're ready for tanks. And that'll be the next video. Update you guys on this. We're buying tanks, painting tanks, and setting them up. I'll probably do 1 tank at a time, but I don't know. We'll see when we get to that. We'll cross that bridge when we get there, but I sure am looking forward to this and expanding my knowledge on the hobby and sharing it all with you as I discover. So thank you guys for watching. Bye.